Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for a special edition of Two Fat Round Guys
Why is this a special edition?
talking foot round ball. Because we're talking football and basketball here. A lot of stuff going on, Sam.
I got a suggestion.
We're fat and round.
I got a suggestion from a viewer to just shorten it to Round Guys Talking Round Ball.
Well, that's our new one.
Yeah, but just take out the two. I don't know what you thought about that.
Oh, just round
or
guys?
Or what they thought about it.
No. That's our thing, is just two blanks talking blanks.
All right. I thought I'd throw it out there.
If we were,
Let us know.
if we were, I don't know where I'm going with this.
We could have infinite round guys talking football.
How awesome would it be if there were just 17 fat guys who know nothing about UCLA basketball? Just, what do you think of the game?
A fat show?
Just a fat show. All right, let's move on. Guys, welcome to Two Fat Round Guys talking foot round ball. This is John Gold with the Daily News, Sam Strong with the Daily Brew, and we're here today in the UCLA bunker.
It's a little sterile in here, so we're going to try and liven it up.
I actually had to wear gloves when I walked in, but I took those off. Guys, we're here talking football. I guess we're going to start with football. Today, UCLA named its defensive coordinator after a 5-week search. Lou Spanos, coming over from the Washington Redskins, linebackers coach, spent 2 years with the Redskins, 15 years with the Steelers, and it continues this trend for Mora of making what I consider a very cerebral, I don't know, I think the way he's building his team between the NFL guys and between the college guys is a really good, delicate balance. And I think, it shows that UCLA is putting some money into their staff. I mean, it just confirms that they continue to put money into the staff.
Yeah, obviously he has no experience recruiting. I don't know if that's...
Doesn't seem to be hurting them so far.
I don't know if you want your I understand if your linebackers coach doesn't know anything about recruiting, but I don't know if you want your D coordinator.
Well, their head coach didn't know anything about recruiting, and
That's true.
They just went out and got the number 2 defensive tackle in the country yesterday.
That's true. Big
Ellis
news.
McCarthy, that's what we're talking about. Ellis McCarthy from Monrovia High, committed to UCLA, verbally committed to UCLA last night during an in-home visit with Demetrius Martin, UCLA's new defensive backs coach.
I watched
a pivotal commitment.
I watched the video that you posted on your blog.
I posted a lot of videos.
The 30-ish second one of him.
Oh, yeah.
It was
he's
incredible.
Yeah.
Guys were trying to block him, and he was just shoving him out of the way.
It's funny. I've spoken to a lot of UCLA, not just reporters, but preps guys, guys who watch these more than just watch UCLA football on Saturday afternoons. And the common refrain that I keep hearing is he is a physical specimen. This is speaking of Ellis McCarthy, physical specimen, one of the best defensive players in the country, but how good is his motor? How big is his intensity? And the first thing I have to say to that is he plays defensive tackle. So that's, he's only going to be playing 25% of the total snaps in a game.
Yeah.
If he was playing, he'll play 50% usually of UCLA's defensive snaps. And so if they can harness that kind of energy out of 40 snaps a game, like they did with Brian Price, then you have one of the best defensive players in the conference.
I don't know. I want to temper the excitement a little bit because there have been plenty of 5-star recruits that have gotten in here and not really panned
Sammy
out.
Downer.
So
Sammy Downer.
That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I don't know if Randall Carroll
just throw salt in the wound, bro.
Was Randall a 5-star?
4-star.
Okay.
Get your info right.
Was Morrell Presley a 5-star?
I think he was a 5-star.
So look at where he is now. He got arrested the other day. So.
Did he?
Or like a few weeks ago, or months, or something.
Shoddy reporting from Sam Strong again.
I'm just saying, look at the people that they've got.
Look, but you can't. To me, though, each recruit is a blank slate.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you can't take, the misdeeds of guys who were. And one thing that I've always find very curious is when top-ranked players have a pivotal thing or a pivotal aspect of their game that's bashed, okay? And for Morrell Presley was his hands. For Randall Carroll, it was his hands. It's a tight end and a wide receiver. All you need is hands, And so the fact that they got 5-star, 4-star rankings, they were so lauded and so heavily recruited, that always just seemed kind of weird to me, because if the one thing they need to work on is their hands, well, I don't care how fast and big and strong you are.
I agree. It's a case-by-case thing, but I'm not ready to say they're going to win the Pac-12 just because they got Ellis McCarthy.
Sammy Downer. All right.
That's me.
But UCLA's recruiting has been pretty big. I think they have now 11 recruits since Jim Mora was hired. Problem is, it's getting a little too big, and you got to start figuring where is some of these guys going to go.
Yeah.
And I just really want to get your thoughts on over-recruiting. It's something that happens in the SEC. Where you bring in 26 guys and then miraculously somehow these scholarships seem to open up spontaneously, and I kind of believe that this business is such a business, or this game is such a business now that it's all shady. It's all shady.
There are a number of guys on UCLA's roster that I could see being asked to move positions for other guys, for more highly touted guys. And I think that's something you have to do if you're a new coach and these weren't your players to come in with, and that's an unfortunate.
It's kind of cutthroat.
It's an unfortunate situation, but I can see it happening with a lot of UCLA's current players.
Yeah.
Because there's some guys that just don't cut it at some positions.
Well, yeah, and what it comes down to, I think, is, as we've already seen, Jim Moore's already dismissed 3 players. Carroll, who you were speaking of, Raymond Nelson, the tight end, and Wesley Flowers, the defensive end.
Yep.
And I think, every time I talk to Jim Moore, there's this intensity in him. I talked to him this morning about a story I'm doing on the offensive line, and just to hear the way he describes players, the way he describes what he wants out of certain guys. I mean, it's all, it all seems to fall in line with a pattern of behavior that he seems to have set when he was hired on December 10th. And so, if these guys, like you're talking about, aren't with the program or aren't gonna, buy in, that's what happens.
That's a product of a coaching change sometimes. So I'll be interested to see how it shakes out.
So now I guess we're shifting to the round portion of this.
Yes.
That was just the fat portion.
That was fat. Now
we're on round.
Yes.
So let's talk a little UCLA hoops. Coming off a big win over USC, 19-point win was their biggest margin of victory over USC at USC, biggest road win at USC since 1999.
Further exemplifying the fact that the Pac-12 conference is not very good.
Well, I mean, I don't know how that one game can exemplify that.
I'm just saying, think about your natural concept of a rivalry game. It's a point here, a point there, whatever, and UCLA blew them out.
Okay, what happened in football?
Well, I'm talking about
no one's saying that the Pac-12 football is bad just because USC beat football.
Yeah, but I mean, it was an easy win. Yeah,
I'm just saying UCLA. This game wasn't indicative of how bad the conference is. USC is indicative of how bad the conference is.
Yeah.
UCLA is not, that good themselves.
No, yeah,
and the point that I'm trying to make here is that, the time after time this year, I feel like we've all kind of been roped in. Is UCLA turning the corner? Is UCLA getting better? Is UCLA doing this? Yeah, they won 3 straight and all that kind of stuff, but I still don't see the possession in, possession out authority offensively that this team could have.
And you were never going to see it in that game because USC is not good enough to show that.
I'm talking about at UCLA.
Yeah,
they seem to. They had that one 22-4 stretch over USC early in the first, or midway through the first half, and that was it. They didn't put the pedal to the metal. They didn't choke USC out. At one point I think it got back to like a 12-point game. Maybe it might have been 14, but it wasn't great basketball. And you have to kind of wonder: does UCLA have great basketball in them?
I don't know. I was just talking to a bunch of the players, and they're still of the mind that they have to win the Pac-12 conference tournament. So
you're right, 100% right.
They definitely are. So I don't want to say that the rest of the regular conference season is meaningless, but it's not. It's only going to matter for seeding in the tournament. It's
going to matter a lot more, Sam. And the way it's going to matter is because you look at how their man-to-man defense has grown just simply over the last 6 or 7 games. At one point they weren't going to zone defense because they were better. They were going to zone defense because they were desperate.
They had to.
They absolutely had to. And now you're looking at a defense that seems to be, in some ways turning the corner. I think it would benefit Ben Howland to go game by game with zone versus man. And the one thing we haven't seen him do this year, I haven't seen him pretty much do ever, is, adjust in a game to shut down another team what they're doing. And so I do wonder if they have the man-to-man, if the man-to-man gets 85%, which, where is it right now? Say it's at 80% of what it, of perfection, whatever. Not even perfection, but what it could be.
Okay.
Say they're at 75% right now. That's still, you need to complement that. You need to have 100%.
Yeah.
And if that needs to be 25% of zone, so be it. But you can't have 75% of defense and just say, okay, well, we're getting better.
Coach Allen's problem is if he switches to zone and someone hits an open shot, he's not playing zone in that game. So
freaks out.
He did that twice, I think, in that ASU game I covered. He went to zone, they hit 2 threes, and he never did it again.
Yeah.
So, part of that could be he needs to get out on a limb a little more and accept a few of those open shots and that they're going to keep playing it. But,
you're right.
They seem to be playing better defensively, and I think this week, looking for their first true road win is going to be big for them because that's not an easy trip. Oregon State seems to be a good team, even though they've trailed off recently.
Yeah.
And
11-7.
Playing at Matt Knight Arena is apparently no easy task. I didn't go up there last year.
Coming on, that's Oregon on Saturday.
Saturday, right?
Yeah, that's I think going to be a tougher test. Dana Altman's really turned that program around pretty quickly. I think Oregon has the makings of a pretty good team. I want to talk. Last thing that we'll really get into is Jared Cunningham. is the leading scorer in the Pac-12. It's Oregon State's guard. He's scoring 17.6 points a game. Have you ever heard of him?
He played really well last year against them.
Yeah,
obviously, we'll have heard of him, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like,
it's shocking to me that the Pac-12's best player or best scorer just gets nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to the team about. Is like last year, everyone was on. Derek Williams was on everyone's draft board. Everyone knew who he was. Everyone was going to commit a double team to him. And now I'll bet if you said the name Jared Cunningham to someone in New York or wherever, they wouldn't know who he was. So
you couldn't come up with another state?
I mean, like
in New York or wherever.
In the national consciousness of college basketball.
Listen, I'm with you.
No one knows who he is.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Which is indicative of how bad the conference is, in my opinion.
And that's exactly what we asked these guys today was, is his anonymity a product of the fact that the conference is just that bad? I mean, you look at the conference rankings, we get the Pac-12 stat sheet or whatever, and there's only Stanford and Cal are receiving any votes, I believe, right now. In the top, and I think Stanford's at 33 or something, and Cal's at 43 and 1, and it's fascinating how far it's dropped.
I'm excited for the conference tourney, like I said before. That'll be fun.
Speaking of things that have dropped, how's your weight loss?
Going to the gym after this. I'm going to try and bang out this story. Yeah, you want to come?
What do you think?
I'm going to say no. Oh, we can gorge in food afterward.
All right, well, I'd much rather do that.
All right, I'm down.
Two FatRound guys doing what they know best.
Yeah, let us know if you have any restaurant
See, here's the thing that pisses me off, is you're losing all this weight, but my beard alone is like 7 pounds. And so I feel like I'm permanently behind you.
Beard's a good look.
You can't even grow a beard.
Better than your soul patch you used to have. If you have any good restaurant suggestions in Corvallis
he went to the soul patch, folks.
Or Eugene. This guy used to have a soul patch.
I mean, when you're a fat white guy, is it considered a soul patch?
I don't know.
I mean, I got a lot of soul.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called for white people. Anyway, hit us up if you know anywhere in Corvallis
Cabbage Patch
that we can eat.
Yeah, we need places.
We'll do a video from there for you.
Will we?
Because I'm going up there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it'll be two fat guys talking football from McDonald's in Indio, and then two round guys talking round ball at a Jack in the Box, I assume, in Eugene.
Maybe.
Let's be honest.
We'll see.
All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. John Gold to the LA Daily News, Sam Strong. Find me on Twitter at @TheCoolSub.
I'm at Sam Strong. Really exciting, I know.
And Ryan, our trusty video guy, IT guy, and tennis pro. What's your where are you? What's your Twitter?
I'm at Ryan V. Menezes.
All right, Ryan V. Menezes.
Good luck spelling that.
Yeah. @Twitter.com. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Take care.
See ya.